Hi there. So this is going to be part two, and this is where we're going to look at evaluating your competition. So for those of you that have ever watched Dragon's Den, you've probably noticed one of the main questions they often ask the people on the show is about their competition, understanding what the market is, essentially, who's in it. Is it kind of already full? Are the too many suppliers and things like that and companies there? Or is it like an emerging market, so it's a new market, essentially? So you really need to have a good understanding of who your kind of competition is and who's out there, essentially. So if we go through this to the next slide, one other reason why it's quite good to kind of look around at the competition is that it will help you identify what you could use as your kind of unique selling point. Yeah, so it's no good at sort of doing this the other way, thinking, oh, our unique selling point is going to be X, when you haven't actually looked around to see what your competition's offering. So you need to look around at your competition, see what they're doing, and try and figure out what is it that all of your competitors are not doing, and maybe that's the thing that you could be really great at and you could do, and that would make you unique and different from them. So you need to think about what factors you could evaluate and could compare, and then go on and research sort of similar businesses to your own idea, and kind of identify their strengths and weaknesses, essentially. So you can come up with your own factors as well, but we've given you some to get started with here. So there's this sort of table that you need to complete, really. And as before, once you've completed it, add it as a blog post to your website. So, and call it competition evaluation or something. So there's some obvious ones on price. You often find, if you're just thinking about guitars, you got like Harley Benson, things like that, cheap. You've got Ibanez probably in the middle, and then you've got like the really expensive makes of like Keisel and you know certain Gibsons and stuff like that. So what you need to do is think about your business idea now. That you should have identified what your business idea is, and choose at least 3 businesses to compare to. Now, complete this table. You could complete it in here. You can type and things like that. What you might want to do, if you want to add quite a lot more detail though, is like copy the table out. Hopefully we can just copy it, and can we add it to a new Word document? There we go. So let's stick it down here. There we go. So we've got the table, and we might want to just resize it a bit to make it a little less big. So you could then go through this, and you can then expand it quite significantly, and you could copy the table across as text into your blog post, but you could just, if you're struggling with that, just take like a screenshot of it and stick them in as screenshots. So if we're starting to think about some examples for this, if for instance I was going to do a function band, say my idea was I'm going to set up a function band to do weddings, corporate gigs, things like that, I need to find some competitors. Now, that sort of world is local. I'm not going to be doing function band gigs in Dubai in America. It's going to be fairly local to Devon. So my competitors I want to choose are fairly local to Devon, essentially. Whereas if you're selling a product online, your market is the world. Your competitors are worldwide, so you could compare to competitors in America and things like that if you're selling over there and they can sell here. So if we're doing a function band, it's going to be local. So I already Googled up function bands Exeter, had a look through, found some ones that I know exist. So we could then go and look at their websites. So Quite Brazen, I've heard of before. They're like pushing their awards and stuff. They like their awards. But we could kind of go through and look and find out what we can about them. You could even be cheeky and ask them for a quote if you want to know how much they cost. Swing Kings, I've heard of as well. So but you can see these very very sort of different. This is like this looks more kind of rocky sort of outfit. It's not so chic, the website, is it? Whereas this is all very very nice, very very kind of professional looking, high quality images. They're clearly aiming at the wedding market with so many wedding photographs and things like that. So we could have a look around their website and find out as much information as we can. Here's like another band that are fantastic locally, New Heroes, and we could sort of services. What do they actually offer? What do they do? And things like that. So have a look around their website, see what you can figure out, and then if we went back to our table, we might be able to figure out, well, the costing of them is different, and these are the kind of rough costs. Quality, well, I mean, that's where for this you'd maybe have to go look at some videos and things, but I mean, these guys have awards. Check out the award. Is it actually an award worth winning or not? There seems to be a lot of awards out there nowadays. Testimonials, things like that. They got loads of testimonials about how great they are and stuff, all that sort of stuff. So you can kind of look through the websites, read reviews, things like that. Think about these sort of things. What do they actually offer? Where are they based? Where do they kind of cover? Image, reputation. This might be harder for you guys, but I mean, I've heard of these. I've kind of heard of these guys, but not very much. Whereas New Heroes, like loads of people know New Heroes, like they're huge. They've got a big reputation. What is the kind of range of what they offer? Just do they just do one thing? I know New Heroes, for instance, they can do like an acoustic stripped down version of the band for like the afternoon part of the wedding day and stuff. Other things, and then strengths and weaknesses. Really, what do you think the strength of that kind of business is, and what's its weaknesses? So that's if it was a function band. But what if you're going to do something else, like a live sound company? So it's probably going to be a bit wider than just Exeter. It'll be maybe the whole southwest. But you could look at like Stage Electric and things like that compared to like a big national sort of one, and sort of compare them. Maybe one year I had a student that wanted their business idea. They wanted to make their own guitars and sell them. So like business one, you could compare as Manson's. Manson's do it. They do it for Muse. But you could then look at like a big international one because you're going to be in competition with them, like Fender. And then so you've got like a local and national, and just pick like another one that's maybe quite similar to you as well. So you'd be like, quality and reliability. I would have thought Manson's quite high, but price is high. Fender, the price is sort of medium, middle band. Quality's okay. Depends if you get the American ones or ones built elsewhere, things like that. But like with Fender, everything's, if you want a telly or a Strat, great. But if you want something more interesting or special, then they don't really do that. Whereas some shops like Kaisel, if we compare to them, they do a complete custom-made guitar for you and stuff. So, the price is very high, but in terms of what they offer, like their product service range, is anything you want, they can pretty much do it for you. And image reputation, Manson's is fairly well known around the world, but not massively, but have a good reputation. Whereas Fender are massively well renowned and do have quite a good reputation, essentially, for making it, good quality sort of medium range guitars. Whereas like Kaisel, you'd only really have heard of them if you were a guitar fanatic, really. And like the strengths and weaknesses, so like with Fender, the strengths is that they're massive global. They've got huge amounts of buying power for materials, probably big factories, things like that. But at the same time, that's kind of a lot of these things you can think of. Is that a weakness? Are they maybe too big? It happened with Gibson. Gibson nearly went bust a few years ago. So if you look at Manson's strengths are, quite a tailored customer sort of service approach, quite interesting, different kind of guitars. things like that. But what are the weaknesses? Well, they're only so big, they can't scale up massively and make thousands of guitars. So that means that the price is going to stay high. So think about going through all these things for at least 3 businesses. Once you've finished your table and you've fully completed it for your 3 kind of big competitors, go back to your website. So you should have your website like that. Go onto your blog page. You can get on it if it says blog page on the menu system, or by going to the ribbon, going to pages and blog. Yeah, and then like if I click on this one, it'll go to that page. If I go back to blog, it'll go back to my blog page. So you should have a blog post already from the last kind of video with your mind map of business ideas and narrowing down to your main idea you're going to develop and your justification as to why. So I'm going to go into new post, and what I want you to basically do is call this compet it or evaluation or analysis. Yeah, and then basically this table, however you want to do it, if you want to screenshot it and stick it in, or if you want to copy and paste it and stick it in, I said the easiest thing, screenshot it and then just stick it in as images and then post it. Okay, so you should have a blog post now with your mind map and your justification for your business idea and an evaluation of at least 3 competitor businesses. Once you've finished your table and added it to your blog, what you want to do really is kind of review this information that you found out and really think about what is your unique selling point, or what could it be? So following kind of completing the research, what do you think the gaps are in the market? Do you think there is something missing that you could kind of, that's where you could go and fill it? And discuss this in your blog post, essentially, as some sort of unique selling points and sort of the potential of them. So, as an example, I've been talking about guitar companies. You do have, Fender and loads of Ibanez and things like that, but they don't do real sort of custom jobs on things. Whereas companies like Keisel do, but Keisel are based in the United States, and it's very hard to get their products shipped over here with all of the customs and stuff like that. So, if you were looking to kind of do a big mass production guitar company, it's probably not going to work that well because you've got so many big competitors, which is why so many new guitar making companies are really innovative and do real custom jobs. There's companies, using carbon fiber and things like that. Because that's kind of, a gap in the market is there, essentially. So review all the information in this table that you found out and try and figure out, are there some potential unique selling points where you found some gaps in the market? Add that to your blog post and discuss it.